Britain voted to leave the European Union in 2016, and on December 24, 2020, Britain and the EU announced that they had reached a post-Brexit trade and security deal, which was just in time for the December 31st deadline.
We have completed the biggest trade deal yet, worth £660 billion a year, a comprehensive Canada-style free trade deal between the UK and the EU.
The European Union and the United Kingdom will stand shoulder to shoulder to deliver on our common global goals.
For decades, British lawmakers argued that the European Union was constraining Britain's economic and political future. But since the Brexit vote, the country has had mixed economic fortunes and struggled through the pandemic year in 2020.
And from Thursday until the start of December, you must stay at home. You may only leave home for specific reasons.
Some pro-Brexit voices argued that the short-term economic pain was always likely, but that in time, the country would reap the benefits of Brexit and become the global Britain that Johnson and his allies desired, to be able to pursue independent foreign policy and bilateral trade deals. Before Britain could get to this and plan its future relationship with the EU, the two had to negotiate a withdrawal agreement, which is basically a procedure for how it would leave the bloc. Even that proved difficult. Some argued that Britain could pursue what's called a soft Brexit and seek a close relationship like Norway, which is an outsider that is essentially bound by many EU rules. But others, including Boris Johnson's ruling Conservative Party, wanted a clean break from the EU, which is known as a hard Brexit.
This kind of ratchet clause they've got in to keep the UK locked in to whatever they want to do in terms of legislation, which obviously doesn't work.
To make matters harder, Britain's Supreme Court decided in early 2017 that Parliament must have a say on any Brexit deal. Multiple agreements reached by the former government of Prime Minister Theresa May with her European counterparts were voted down in Parliament before she resigned in 2019. Johnson was elected Prime Minister in July 2019, and with a new election in December of that year, he won a comfortable majority in Parliament. This helped him get his withdrawal agreement through in January 2020, and it led to the long-awaited Brexit Day on January 31st, 2020, when Britain formally Brexited. However, there were still many outstanding items. Britain had not reached an agreement on its future relationship with the European Union, so after Brexit Day, Britain entered into an 11-month transition period to negotiate a trade deal and set out its future relationship with the EU. There were significant arguments over seemingly mundane things like fishing rights. Johnson used harder negotiating tactics than May, even this fall threatening to withdraw from elements of the withdrawal agreement, which would potentially be in violation of international law. The deal reached on December 24th allows Britain to potentially take back control of 2/3 of its stock over the next 5 years. And in regards to trade, the deal allows each side to appeal to an independent review panel and impose tariffs if they feel wronged. Another debate surrounded the Irish border, where seamless travel between Northern Ireland and Ireland is permitted. The absence of a deal if trading rules between Northern Ireland were no longer aligned with those of Ireland, which is an EU member state, could have resulted in the need for a hard border. This would be a potential breach of the Good Friday Agreement that some feared could lead to sectarian violence. But businesses on both sides consider this deal better than the wreckage of a no-deal exit, something that was feared for years and was previewed this week when countries shut their borders to travelers from Britain over fears of a coronavirus mutation and thousands of freight trucks were stuck at British ports. Even with the trade deal, though, the two sides will make a sharp split with little precedent in the modern global economy, with brand new borders, inspections, and red tape, where for decades, there has been none.